Hi, I'm Sandy Brown, Mayor of the town of Orangeville, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of Talk 519 on Rogers TV. We're going to be discussing Orangeville, Dufferin County, and the issues that matter most to you. Tonight's show, we're going to explore skilled trades training, what it is, why it matters, and how we can work together to move young people into these demanding and exciting careers and rewarding careers. Joining me now is Diana Morris. Diana is the General Manager of the Dufferin Board of Trade. And after our break, we're going to have local electrician Patrick Davidson and his daughter Kaylin join us to talk further about skilled trades and women in skilled trades. So Diana, you and I have been talking about skilled trades for quite some time. I've been involved with the Dufferin Board of Trade, and maybe we can just talk briefly about the Dufferin Board of Trade and what it is, what it does, and for instance, how you advocate for local businesses, and maybe you can share a little bit about Dufferin Board of Trade for our viewers.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thanks so much for inviting me here today. The Dufferin Board of Trade is a nonprofit organization. We're a community building organization, and we build up the community by helping the local businesses within it thrive. We found that when the businesses are thriving, the economy is doing better, and the businesses are better equipped to support local events, local charities, and their employees. That's really our mandate and our passion.
Yeah. You're also part of a wider network, the Ontario Chambers of Commerce,
Yes.
and also the Canadian Chambers of Commerce. Is that right? So can you talk a little bit about advocacy for small businesses in Ontario? I know that with the change in government last year, you're always advocating for businesses, pro-businesses, lower taxes, incentives for employment, all these things. So can you share a little bit about your advocacy at the provincial level?
Yeah, absolutely. We're connected to the, as you say, the Ontario Chamber of Commerce and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, as well as locally. The first way that we do our advocacy work is first by surveying the businesses to find out what the needs are in the business community locally. Once we know what the local business needs are, we can take those needs to the municipal councils if need be, across the 8 municipalities and at the county level, and to the Ontario and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce.
Right. So one of the things that has come up and has been really a concern for businesses is workforce, right?
Absolutely.
And out of that has come this conversation about skilled trades, because throughout North America there is a void in skilled trades employees, I should say. And so we've been talking about how can we spur interest in young people and those who are looking to be retrained to get into skilled trades. I know I've shared with you before, Diana, that I'm a member of the local Lions Club. I sit in our meetings a couple times a month, and I look around the room and I see carpenter, electrician, plumber, HVAC technician, and these people are all doing well financially. They're all contributing to the communities, and they all have happy family lives. And what's wrong with that? Like we need more of this. So if we can convince more people to, particularly I think at the high school level, if you're thinking about what the future brings, guidance counselors and teachers are driving students towards college, university. And yet we know over half the high school students don't go to college, university, but there's really not a lot of talk about skilled trades. It's interesting though, since we've been talking 6-8 months ago really about this, it seems to be more in the forefront on the national news scene and the provincial news scenes. And even the Upper Grand District School Board is embracing some of this and pushing more of the skilled trades on. And we've you and I put together a task force. We invited some local business people and some stakeholders, government people that are involved, to try and look at ways to promote skilled trades in our area. And one of the ways was to perhaps build a web portal. And can you maybe talk a little bit about what the future might be in terms of that web portal, what our thoughts are?
Yeah, absolutely. So the initial phase is the research phase of that web portal. In order to build something that really makes sense and covers the needs that we have here, we wanted to do a fair bit of research to make sure that we're finding out what the needs are. We surveyed 32 businesses who do hire in skilled trades. 65% of those said that they had excess capacity that they're unable to meet due to a lack of workers. So that really drives home the point that this is necessary in Dufferin. So as we started to look through, we're meeting with the employers, talking about what areas in skilled trades specifically they're looking for, and if they're willing to hire apprentices, pre-apprentices, and how far down the stream that they need. Once we have all of that information, that'll help us shape the web portal that we're building so we can make it very Dufferin-centric and connecting and matching with job seekers with those who have employment opportunities here locally.
So I think what you said initially there was that employers are turning down business because they don't have workers to look after it, which points to, you know, economic development and increased dollars coming into Dufferin County and making businesses more successful. Obviously, they increase their sales. So really, this workforce issue is a big problem, not just in skilled trades. We've heard that many other businesses are having trouble finding good employees. But the reason that I thought skilled trades needed to be pushed is because the individual wages for a fully trained skilled tradesperson is very good. And you know, as I sit here as mayor, I'm hearing issues about affordable housing and about, you know, if you have a good paying job, there's no you know, unaffordable housing. It's that is removed from your discussion. So we need to get more people focused on training in those jobs, and there's a void in that whole construction industry. And the other interesting thing about skilled trades, particularly in the construction industry, is you can't export those. Whereas things like software jobs and IT jobs, they can be sent out overseas because of the nature of those things. But working with your hands and building things, you can't export that, right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Another really interesting thing about getting a career in the skilled trades is the training. You don't have the same kind of debt load that you have with a college or university program, and you can get working much sooner. So that certainly appeals to a lot of parents who may want their children to not have that kind of debt, but also to people looking for a career that they can start working in and start earning a very good income right away.
Right. Most of these jobs are you earn as you learn. Apprenticeship programs are a mix of study and work, but when you're working during an apprenticeship, you're getting paid, and usually wages much higher than minimum wage. It's a good way to learn and to not attract the kind of debt that a university student sometimes has to take on. So, very good. Now we've got some summer employment opportunities at Dufferin Board of Trade, and can you share with us how you've made out at this point, and what those summer students are going to be working on at Dufferin Board of Trade?
Absolutely. In order to make this project possible, because we are a nonprofit, we've had to get some summer students, and we're very fortunate to have been approved for Canada Summer Jobs Grant. So we have 4 summer students that we'll be hiring, and they will be doing research. So they'll have a variety of experiences that the student will have in research on websites, best practices, compiling data that we've gathered from businesses and surveys. And then we also have digital media coordinator who will be working on the website, the social media, the marketing plan. So some really great opportunities for us as an employer to connect with young adults, and for the students as well to get some excellent hands-on learning experience and make a difference in their community.
Right. So maybe we can bounce a little bit back now to Dufferin Board of Trade and about membership drive and looking for, I mean, what are some of the reasons why local businesses should join the Dufferin Board of Trade?
Yeah. We support the businesses, as I said previously, helping the business community thrive. There's really 4 main ways that we help the businesses thrive. As you mentioned, we advocate on behalf of business needs. We also connect businesses with each other and with the resources that they need. We encourage consumers to shop local, and we help businesses save money. So most businesses are going to have a need in at least one of those areas, if not all of them. And those are really what motivates our members. We have about 340 members right now in the county, and we're always expanding and growing their membership base.
Right. And where can people find more information about Dufferin Board of Trade and about membership costs and some of the programs. I know you've got some insurance programs
We do.
where you're pooling the resources and getting some very good pricing for insurance, for instance. Where can people find more information?
The best way to find information is on our website, which is www.dufferin.bot.ca.
That's great. So with respect to skilled trades again, Diana, do you have any metrics at all on local businesses and what some of the research that you've done so far and the need for additional skilled trades workers here?
Yeah. Some of the original, as I mentioned, 65% of the businesses have excess capacity, but we've also found that 44% of the businesses we've surveyed are willing to take on employees with basic technical skills and no actual training. They're willing to train in-house because they need the workforce immediately. We found about 81% of surveys respondents are using online job boards to find their employees, which is a great, if there's people seeking employment, that really is where you need to be right now. We found some other research we've done, about 1 in 5 Canadians are employed in skilled trades, which really speaks to the value of trades as a career.
Right. And back, about a month ago, we were fortunate to attend something called Build a Dream.
Yes.
And the interesting part of that program was it was directed at women in skilled trades.
It was.
And what did you think of that event?
Oh, it was a wonderful night. It was geared for younger girls and their families to come out and get exposure to the skilled trades. And it wasn't just skilled trades; it was non-traditional careers that are non-traditionally for females.
Right.
So we saw quite a few different
Paramedics,
unions, police
Carpenters
force,
Union, police
yes.
force. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and the power and enthusiasm in that room was amazing. You could just feel the even one of the moms stood up to speak to say that she was thinking now, after hearing some of the successful women in trades, that she was thinking perhaps she should relook at her career options. She said she was in her 40s and it may be time for a new career for her. It sounded appealing.
I spoke to a young woman who was working for Enbridge Gas.
Yes.
She was dressed in her work uniform, and I said, "So what's your life like?" She says, "I have no fear of the future. I'm earning good money. I love my job." So what more could you say?
Yeah.
So Diana, I want to thank you for joining me today. We had a really nice discussion about skilled trades. We're going to continue to promote that both through
Perfect.
Dufferin Board of Trade. I know the County Council and Town Council are very interested in promoting that. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Great. We'll be back in a couple minutes with Patrick Davidson and his daughter, Kaylin. Welcome back to our second segment of Talk 519. I'm Mayor Sandy Brown of the town of Orangeville, and today we're talking about skilled trades, and I'm joined in our second segment by Patrick Davidson of a local business owner, Davidson Electrical Service, and his daughter Kaylin. And we're going to talk about Pat's experience as a skilled trade person, and that he's got his daughter starting to think about this as a potential career choice, and some of the things that Kaylin's been doing at her age and in skilled trades. And some of the other dialogue I think we have to get into is to talk about women in skilled trades, and that's why I invited Pat and his daughter here, because there's a void right now in skilled trades in North America, and the infrastructure of North America is being improved and replaced, and there's going to be work for the next few decades on this. So the skilled trades workforce needs more people, and lots of this type of work can be done by both men and women, and we need to promote some gender diversity in some of these career paths. So that's what we're going to talk about. So Pat, I wanted to talk to you about how you got started in your electrical work and in skilled trades in general. What kind of drove you to make that decision in your life?
First off, Sandy, thanks for having us on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, how it got me into the trade, it was by pure fluke. I saw a guy, he was an Irishman, and he looked like he had a great life, and he looked like he was well off, and he had a family, and I asked him what he did. He said he was an electrician, and I was just like, okay, let's checked it out online and signed up for the Joint Apprenticeship Council, and 20 years later, here I am.
There we are.
So,
yeah. And so, I mentioned it in the last segment that I sit in my Lions Club meeting and I look around the room and I see skilled tradespeople, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, and all of them are doing well financially. They have good family lives, and they're also supporting their community in many ways. I know you do that as well, right?
Yeah.
It's an important part of your life. So I know that skilled trades, for those who don't know it, you need to get to know it. You need to spend some time investigating these career paths. And I think some of our local high schools are going to start to do some better promotion of skilled trades to younger people. And there's also opportunities for people to retrain if they're not happy in their career, right?
I think one of the best tools to showcase trades these days, and I think we've talked about it before, is Instagram. Just to showcase real life trades. Like, you can follow, if you're interested in like tile setting or bricklaying or being an electrician or a plumber, millwright, you can follow copious amounts of people on Instagram, and you see real life what they do day to day.
Right.
And I think it's just like Instagram has been a fantastic, like I'm constantly updating my Instagram just to show my typical blue collar life, right?
Right.
So,
but it's also promoting your business as well, right?
yeah,
I mean,
when it came down to it, what I wanted to do is basically kind of showcase my daily life. It does promote the business because it's my business name, but what I wanted to showcase was my day-to-day life as the real life of a tradesman. Because you can look at a poster, you can look at it online. Like, when I was looking to get into the trade, I was looking online. You see all the stock photos and the pictures and stuff like that. That's not how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's the real life of, you're going to crawl through an attic.
right.
You're going to be in a crawl space. You know what I mean? You're going to have days where it's really, really cold.
Yeah.
And for an apprenticeship, it's 5 long years.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I tell kids, I'm like, yeah, it's worth it at the end.
Yeah. The interesting thing, we talked about it in the last segment, was apprentices are being paid as they work. So
Yes.
they're learning, and yet they're being paid.
And they're being paid well.
Being paid well. Whereas if you look at university and college, typically you're not being paid. You're probably taking on debt, and so if you want to work hard for 4 or 5 years and build up a pile of money and build a career that's going to last a lifetime, skilled trades is a great path to investigate and move forward on. Back about, it might have been 6 weeks ago now, I went to an event in Kitchener, and it was grade 9 to grade 12 young women and their parents, and there was a trade show, and all it was young ladies learning about skilled trades, and it was pretty awesome. So Electrical Union was there, Carpenters Union, Enbridge, Acon, Ellis Don was one of the big sponsors, and all they talked about was non-traditional jobs for women. Paramedics were there, police were there, and again, it was all driving at getting young ladies to think about these other non-traditional careers. So, Kaylin, I noticed on Facebook some of the posts that you and your dad have put up there. You've been doing some welding, for instance. So what, how did your dad get you involved in this? You watch him work, obviously, from time to time, and what got you interested in skilled trades and in maybe doing things with your hands?
Well, I guess I tried it once, and then I really liked it.
Right.
So I really wanted to keep on trying it.
Get better.
Yeah, I got better at it. And I'm working on a project right now, and we're making a wing. Yeah, and we we just cut up all the pieces for feathers and stuff. Yeah.
So this is going to be a welded piece of art then,
Yeah.
is it? That sounds awesome. And
Yeah,
so
actually, Allegro Steel here in town, they basically gave me a bunch of steel for free because I told them what the project was for, and they were like, just go to our scrap bin and have at it.
oh, that's awesome.
So,
You're probably a bit of a perfectionist. From I've watched you work. You know. So you're probably fairly critical of Caledon.
Yes.
I mean, but give her some marks here. How's she making out so far? What are your thoughts?
The thing is, you asked my wife, one of the things Caledon has that is probably derived from me is she's harder on herself than anybody will ever be harder on.
Right.
And I guess I've always had that in me about, like, when I do a job, I've always been the hardest on myself.
Yeah.
So whatever I can say to her, she's already probably seen it in her own work and looked at it and said, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done this better.
Well, we talk in many parts of life about continuous improvement, whether it's at the town level or in your business, in skills, right? So you're probably getting better and better as you go. The more practice you have, and you're feeling confident working with these materials. And
one of the things that she's constantly improving, and like you can just see it, like when you just get you can see when somebody has a natural ability to use tools. Right. So you can see Caledon improving because most tools are meant for our hands.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Caledon has hands half the size, so it's like when she's holding a grinder. What feels natural for me is not you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I was kind of hoping for, like with tool manufacturers, kind of push smaller tools for the youth.
Yeah.
You know, I know Ideal Industries, they have like an apprenticeship package for like electrical, and I'm sure that there's other trades out there that have that.
Yeah. You mentioned the word ideal, so that triggered this Ideal Nation, right? So you took part in a competition recently, is that right? So explain to our audience here what that was all about.
Well, first we had to cut a bolt, and then we had to, we had to turn on a light. Like, we had to hook up all these wires. We had to strip the end, cut off, I think 2 inches, and then we had to hook them all together, and
Right. So who were you up against? Was this boys, girls, everybody?
She was up against me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And
So
how'd you do?
basically, it's the Ideal Nationals, and they put it on every year, and then the Ideal Supply in town, they're the ones that host
They're
it.
sponsoring it. Yeah.
So I just basically said to them, I'm like, I was going to bring my daughter by and she can do it. And they were more than happy. Actually, Al Wood, the branch manager, he actually sent her like an apprentice kit afterwards with a thank you letter for doing it. Because there's guys there's actual journeyman electrician, they won't even go in the competition because they're afraid of it. Like, they're afraid of what they're going to look
Being
like.
embarrassed.
Yeah, and then Caledon stepped in, did it, and then I went up to Barrie for the trade show, and I seen another kid do it, and I'm happy to see them touch it. You know?
Yeah. So can you see a skilled trades job in your future, or
Yes.
Yeah? And what do you think about joining the family business? Is that something that might happen too?
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Are there, like, this welding? I mean, there's career for welders, right?
I want to be a submarine welder. I want to go underneath and weld ships.
Underwater welder.
Yeah.
I hear that's a very good paying job, although there's a bit of probably danger pay involved, right?
Well,
Because you've got to be worried about your oxygen as well as while you're working. So
Yeah, I don't know what me and her mother think about the underwater part.
Yeah.
I just combined my two things together. I love swimming and I love welding. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Are you a competitive swimmer, or are you?
Yeah. I'm on the Otters team.
Otters, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So and I know you've got a pool at home, so that kind of helps your practice with that. That's great. So, Pat, I've seen some Facebook posts recently. You've been trying to hire an apprentice, and what are the challenges that you face?
I just hired Dylan the other day.
Right. And how old is Dylan? And
he's 23. He actually just by coincidence, has a diploma in electrical engineering from
Good.
Georgian, I believe.
Okay.
So,
So he's got a bit of a head start over somebody that's cold. He would understand.
yeah, like
You know.
for him, it's the technique. It's all like the installation part of it. What I'm probably going to teach him, like he knows a vast majority of the electrical already.
Right.
But so he's like one of the most advanced people I've hired, which is kind
Sounds
of refreshing.
like might work out.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
but for like hiring an apprentice, though, I always tell if you want an apprenticeship, just be honest. I tell apprentices all the time, just be honest.
Yeah.
And Dylan got a job just by when I questioned him about his resume and asked him about it. He's like, "Oh yeah." Apparently, he got hired somebody to write it for him. So I was like, honesty, I love it. Hired,
Yeah.
right?
Well, listen, we're just about at the end of our segment here, but I wanted to thank you and Pat and Kaylin Davidson for coming in to talk about skilled trades. There's a lot of exciting career paths for young people and for those who want to retrain. And for those of you listening in and watching at home, if you go to Talk 519 on Facebook, you're going to get some more information about skilled trades in Orangeville and the initiatives that we're using to hopefully advance employment opportunities in this area. So thanks very much for joining us, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Thank you.